Let me guess, you think every PhD student's secret weapon is their brain or something like that. All those endless hours in the library, big complicated theories, and some caffeine-fueled genius-level thinking. Wrong. It's much simpler. The secret weapon isn't some groundbreaking AI or an app either. It's something much more timeless and paper-based. Yes, we are talking about the classical notebook. Pen and paper, people. And the reason why this humble tool remains supreme? Well, stick around and you will see. So as a philosophy PhD student, I observe not only my peers in humanities, but also different branches like empirical sciences in action. And you know what is surprisingly common? The reliance on a good old-fashioned notebook. Let's address the obvious question. Why use a notebook in the age of smartphones, tablets, laptops, and digital everything? The simplest answer? Portability and focus. Think about it. A notebook doesn't ping with notification. It doesn't distract you with emails. And it doesn't scream, "I'm totally not paying attention" during meetings. It's discreet. When you pull out a notebook, people see someone who is attentive, someone engaged, not someone scrolling social media during a conference. But of course, it's not just about optics, although it's important too. A notebook is always ready. No boot time. Not getting distracted by Candy Crush while you are supposed to jot down that brilliant idea. And speaking of ideas, notebooks are lifesavers. Remember that time you had a brilliant thought but forgot it 5 seconds later? Yeah, me too. A notebook stops those fleeting ideas from vanishing into the ether. And here is where philosophy kicks in, because you know, it's a philosophical channel. As an academic philosopher, I can't resist bringing up one paper in this context. The Extended Mind by Clark David Chalmers, published in 1998. It's a fascinating idea that radically changes how we think about cognition. The classic example they use involves Otto, a fictional character with Alzheimer's disease. Otto relies on a notebook to compensate for his memory loss. He records important information like addresses, facts, appointments, and consults it frequently. For Otto, his notebook isn't just a tool. It's an integral part of his cognitive system. Clark and Chalmers argue that Otto's notebook functions as an extension of his mind. This leads to their parity principle, which says that if a tool performs the same function as an internal cognitive process, like memory, it can be considered part of the mind itself. In essence, our minds aren't confined to our skulls. They can extend into the world around us through the tools we use. So when you write in your notebook, you're not just externalizing your thoughts. You're extending your cognitive system into physical space. This challenges the traditional view that the mind is solely confined within the brain and highlights the functional importance of tools like notebooks. And for a PhD student, this is game-changing. Our brains are bombarded with ideas, arguments, debates, counter-arguments, and data. A notebook becomes more than just a way to stay organized. It's a literal extension of our thinking process, a place to offload mental strain and revisit complex ideas later. What struck me most during workshops with other PhD students was their intelligence, humility, and almost universally, their habit of carrying a small notebook on them. It's a simple, practical tool that links us all, no matter the field. Now let's talk about creativity. You may think creativity is reserved for artists or novelists, but nope, it's a huge part of academic life too. Every major discovery, every revolutionary theory started with a spark of creativity. And guess what's often at the heart of creative process? Yup, a notebook. Some of the greatest thinkers in history were avid notebook users. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks, filled with sketches and musings, are legendary. Charles Darwin documented his groundbreaking ideas about the evolution in notebooks. Even Virginia Woolf relied on notebooks to explore her stream of consciousness style. These weren't just tools for jotting down thoughts. There were spaces where ideas grew, collided, and evolved. There's something about having one with you all the time, because ideas don't wait for you to be ready. They strike randomly, on a walk, in the shower, or in the middle of a dual lecture. And having a notebook means that you're always ready to catch those ideas before they drift away. Plus, the act of writing itself with pen and paper helps solidify those thoughts in a way that typing never will. Because we all have good ideas time to time. Dreams, desires, and so on. But you know, they are just happening within your head. So if you never verbalize them or put them in action in the real world, it's like they never occurred. Writing down your ideas, dreams, and desires makes them real in some sense. And by extending your mind, extending your memory with notes, you are much, much richer. Because, you know, you won't just forget about those ideas anymore. It's like having extra RAM memory in a computer. It's always good to have more memory. And here's a pro tip. Don't think about your notebook as a place for only good ideas. Think about it as a safe space for ideas. Even if your thought is half-formed or seems silly, write it down. Don't forget it. You never know when the meh idea will evolve into something great. Which leads me to a description of my practice of taking notes within notebooks. So, my personal notebook method. I actually have 2 notebooks. No, 2, not 4. Yes, 2. But why? Because they have different purposes. First, there is my trash can notebook. It's the smaller one. This is where anything and everything goes. Random thoughts, half-formed ideas, doodles, you name it. It's messy, it's chaotic, and it's liberating. The trash can notebook is like a mental dumping ground. There's no pressure for things to be perfect or even legible. The primary goal is to just capture the thought. And I believe it's important to have a notebook that is a trash can, that you can put there anything actually. Because you are safe from thinking like, I would like to note down this thought, but I don't know, my notebook is so pretty and I, don't want to make it dirty with this thought. No. Trash can is here. Oh, and also its characteristic, I almost always have it on me. Because it's pretty small, it doesn't take much space, and it's pretty solid too, I think. But chaos isn't sustainable. That's where my main notebook comes in, so the larger one. And this one is more polished. And it's also slightly nicer because it's a moleskin. It's where I filter and organize ideas from my trash can notebook. Of course, not always. On many occasions, I will straight journal into this notebook. If any idea from trash can notebook feels worth pursuing, it's get written here. Neatly and carefully. It's like a final draft notebook. It helps me keep track of what actually matters. So like paper ideas, some arguments perhaps, or some thoughts on things that I have heard or watched or read. And here's the fun part. This method actually works for everyone. Whether you are a PhD student, a programmer, a writer, or someone just trying to explore some philosophical ideas or some ideas in a movie, a book, or just trying to make sense of life. The 2 notebook system surely will help. It's like having both brainstorming space and finished product space. And of course you are saving space within your head. Because according to the theory we talked about earlier, this also becomes your mind. And quick science interlude. Writing by hand is totally neurologically different from typing. Studies have shown that handwriting activates the parts of the brain associated with memory and creativity in ways digital tools just don't. It's tactical, it's physical, and it slows you down in a good way. You're not just mindlessly typing keys, you're engaging with your thoughts on a deeper level. Plus, there's a certain satisfaction of seeing your ideas become something physical. Ink on paper. It's tangible proof that you have created something. And let's be honest, flipping through physical notebook filled with your own words, it's way more rewarding than just scrolling through a Word document. Now you might be thinking, I'm not a PhD student, a programmer or a writer. Is this really for me? Absolutely. You don't have to be buried in academia to benefit from having a notebook on you. Curious about the world? Creative professional, lifelong learner, the notebook method is for you. Just release your thoughts. It's about capturing and shaping your thoughts. No matter who you are, you're a human being that is creative in nature. And one more thing, taking notebook on walks. This might sound weird, but try it. I call it creative walks. So having a walk in a forest or a nice park without any distractions. So not using smartphone during a walk. Let your mind wander. Have your notebook on you and jot down whatever comes to you. There's something magical about connecting your thoughts to the physical act of walking and writing. And many famous philosophers relied on act like that. Nietzsche, Immanuel Kant, and ancient philosophers too. Well, perhaps ancient philosophers didn't have notebooks. And from those walks, I always return with something interesting. And not only within my head, but also in my notebook. So there you have it, the humble notebook. a timeless tool that is as relevant today as it was for great thinkers in the past. Whether you're tackling PhD or dreaming up your next creative project, or just trying to stay organized, a notebook can be your secret weapon. Remember, one trash can notebook, one main notebook, and a world full of possibilities. Why not start today? Grab a notebook, grab a pen, and see where your thoughts will take you. And who knows, your next great idea might be already waiting to be written down. And that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a like and a subscription if you want to see more content like this in the future. If you have friends that struggle with staying organized or staying creative, share this video with them. Maybe they will start using a notebook. And let me know in the comments section, what do you think about having a notebook? Do you take notes by hand? Thank you once again, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.